always, have learned powerful. The mind is like a muscle, and it must be used. And what I'm going to be talking about today will roughly be in 5 parts of the lecture. We'll talk about statistics and demographics of the elderly population. Then we'll be talking about causes of dementia. Then we'll be discussing how do we evaluate people with dementia. And of course, lastly, the treatments. Dementia used to have a prognosis of despair, but it's not like that anymore. There are medications that can retard the decline of mental functioning, and the ancillary services in medicine have also come a long way. The implication, the consequence of memory loss is that it implicates, we'll talk about productivity. We used to say over 65 years old. Now we break up the elderly into the young old, middle old, and old old. These people are retiring and living off of Social Security. The productivity of the country will go down. The elderly population is a growing number. The old that is growing is doubling every 5 years. So we talked about productivity. Geriatric and dementia implicates, well, that's the right word. But let's just talk about politics. The elderly have a vote, and the politicians know that, so it has a political ramification. The elderly represent purchasing power, and so you turn the TV set, and the advertisers here to the elderly. And I'm going to try to make this talk interesting. And so when I made this presentation, when I worked this presentation, I think to myself, what are we interested as professionals? What make this speech or this talk more interesting than other talks? So we all suffer from senior moments, or benign forgetfulness, or we forgot where we put our car keys, and it crosses our mind, geez, is this normal? So what I want to get across is that maybe what is normal memory loss? What is normal forgetfulness? And this might not be true, but to get dementia is not part of normal age. As we age, we have several losses. We lose our hearing, we lose our hair, everything goes down with age, except a couple things, maybe more hair in the nose, more hair, and so, but what signifies pathology versus normal disease? So let's just leave it that it's not normal to lose your memory, because we all see 95-year-old ladies in the hospital who are totally with it. So that's the norm. So if somebody is losing their memory, there's a reason for it. But you can't quite prove that. In the 1950s, and I'm just going to try to put some historical context to this talk, less than 4% of the population was over 65. In the 80s, 11% of the population was over 65. In the year 2006, roughly 20% of the population in America is over 65. So that means roughly 1 in 5 Americans are considered to be in the geriatric. Now, they say that by the year 2020, 70% of the population will be over 65. So we can see how this field of geriatrics and the issue of dementia is so urgent. we're talking about the consequences of geriatrics. Terminal care, all these new issues are being addressed. We spoke about productivity, we spoke about ethics, terminal care, we spoke about economics, political ramifications. So, half of the nursing home beds in this country are filled with patients with dementia. We're going to get into the causes of dementia in a second. The federal budget in 1980 for research was $4 million, and now it's grown to $400 million in research. So the idea is to keep people in as good health as possible, keep them as functioning members of society. So as one ages, we accumulate physicians, we accumulate medications, we accumulate over-the-counter medications. Dementia affects somewhere between 4 million and 14 million Americans. Dementia in the over 65 population, roughly 20% of people suffer from some elements of dementia. Roughly 15% of the elderly over 65 suffer from mild to moderate dementia, and 5% suffer from severe dementia. So dementia is costing society roughly $50 billion a year. And just to continue with these statistics, 80% of the cost of health care is spent in the last 3 years of life. Another demographic finding that if you live to 65, your life expectancy approaches 25 years. So it's the old that seems to be surviving. So let's talk a little bit now about how it works. All right, the number of elderly people is doubling, went from 1244 in 1950 to 25 million in 80, to roughly 50 million now. And these are important issues because elderly people drive. So causes of death in the elderly, accidents are growing concern about young people on the road. It's doubling every 5 years. Dementia, roughly 50% of the old suffering from memory loss. And this is, I downloaded some of these slides from the internet showing that it's a world problem. Now in America, most of the dementia, we'll get into particulars, is due to Alzheimer's, but in countries such as Japan, where they have a high salt intake, their dementia is due to a vascular dementia, pulmonary cause. So there are different socioeconomic causes. And this is just a slide from comparing the dementia in people in India and China, and so the world is dealing with this problem. Sleep disturbance, incontinence, falling out. Dementia doesn't have the dismal implications it used to have. If you get diagnosed with dementia, it doesn't mean you're going to have a slow, miserable death. There's been a lot of progress. It's called the team approach. One of the changes in geriatrics is that when somebody comes in, it's just not the doctor